Hello, what is up? So, this is an interesting topic here because literally I never see anyone talking about it. So, this is what this is this where on your motherboard where your graphics card literally slots into. It's a at the moment, unless it's a brand new Gen 5 motherboard, so you've got on them like an 850 or whatever. So a PCIe Gen 5 would be that is what it would be. Or if you got a 650 motherboard like me, that would be Gen 4, which is 4.0, or you got the older version, which is Gen 3. So if we look at some benchmarks here, because J2 Sense, he's actually done a video on it, and Sir's Gamer Nexus. So I thought I'd just make a video and run through the differences. Is it worth it? For me, I don't think it is. So if we look here, so this is Gen 5, so this is a 5090 running on a Gen 5 motherboard. So again, there is literally zero difference, and for some reason, uh, even a Gen 4, which is meant to be worse than a Gen 5, is actually slightly winning, but look at that, it's literally a tie. The Gen 3 is worse, but only by 2 FPS. I mean, so even a Gen 3 doesn't seem to be that far behind, which is quite interesting to me. And I did look into this before because I was thinking, shall I get a Gen 5 motherboard? But after I looked into all this, I watched Gamer Nexus video because I've literally just done a second build, and it just made zero sense considering the price. And what you will find is even the Gen 4 is winning in some games. So you can even literally buy a Gen 5 motherboard and be confident that you're going to get a better result. So for me, it's literally whether you got Gen 5 or Gen 4, you just have to take it as it comes and just think, well, it's going to win in some games, it won't in some others. But generally, a Gen 3 will be worse, but it's only a small difference again. I mean, it surprised me how well Gen 3 is still doing. So this is Black Myth Wukong. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So I saw this on Twitter. So for some reason, and it's probably an Nvidia issue again. So the 4070 Ti Super, for some reason, is doing better than the 5070 Ti in this. And I shouldn't laugh, but there is always something with them Nvidia. There is. I mean, Blackwell just really seems to be broken in a lot of games. I don't know what's going on with it. So this is a Generation 3 PCIe on the 4070 Ti Super here, which is meant to be worse than Gen 5, but we're not seeing it. So that is a 5070 Ti against a 4070 Ti Super, and it's doing well. It's doing worse. So once again, it looks like Nvidia drivers are just fucked again, which don't surprise me. So if we get back to the benchmarks, so for 4K, for some reason the Gen 4 is doing better when that's meant to be worse. At 1440p, the Gen 5 takes the lead, but by 2 FPS, which is literally nothing. The Gen 3, yeah, 121. Again, it's literally 3 FPS. It's barely noticeable. And at 1080p, it's 2 FPS. I mean, for me personally, it is not a consistent thing for me to care about, to be honest. And especially when it's losing Gen 5 in games. So it seems to be if there's going to be a difference, it will be at 1080p or 1440p a lot of the time. Borderlands, and this was interesting, at 1440p it was even winning on Gen 4. That's Gen 5, so literally again it's nothing. So for me it seems to be it's pointless. I mean, I'd just get the cheaper motherboard. I would like Gen 4 at least. 4K, I mean, this was very interesting. Look at that gap. That's the biggest gap I've seen. So I don't know why a Gem 5 is behind by that much. So it seems like that is losing by quite a bit. Generally, Gem 3 will be slower. That's quite consistent in what I've seen. But generally with PCIe 4 versus 5.0, it's no difference most of the time, like 0 to 2%. So this is Gamer Nexus results. So this is Resident Evil 4. That is literally a tie at 4K. Gen 3 is only losing by 2 FPS. This is a 5090 tested. Dying Light 2, again, it's literally hardly any difference. And on the Gen 3, only losing 1 FPS. I mean, this is pretty much what you see most of the time. So I think my overall conclusion on it, I mean, the video is literally, is Gen 5 worth it? Maybe it future-proofs you in the very distant future, because it ain't a big difference. Generally, it's not worth it for me. If you're already on a Gen 4 motherboard and you're thinking about upgrading to Gen 5, for me, it is literally pointless. Possibly if you're on a Gen 3, even then, it will depend on that person. It is a small difference, but maybe it is more worth it with a Gen 3. I mean, the results are just not consistent enough if you're looking at a PCIe 4 versus a PCIe 5. It's not consistent enough to convince me that I would be better off on the Gen 5 anyway. There's more evidence to support a Gen 3, but then again, as I keep pointing out, it's a small difference, and it will literally depend on the game with a Gen 3, because that can surprise you, and it's not massively far behind Gen 4 or Gen 5. So, and of course, back on Gen 4 versus Gen 5 PCIe, it's only the Nvidia GPUs that are actually using PCIe 5.0, whereas AMD are using Gen 4 still. So that is such an extremely small difference between Gen 4 and Gen 5. It really is. So I'm not really sure when AMD will do it, but as we can see, it's not making a difference. It's literally a tie a lot of the time, or you even get games where Gen 4 is outperforming 5.0, or I mean, you look at that result with Nvidia's 5070 Ti and a 4070 Ti Seva, so I don't know. I mean, if AMD adopted it, maybe the results would be more consistent on Gen 5, but on Nvidia it feels like I've got more to worry about. I mean, when I'm seeing the 4070 Ti Super do better on the Gen 3 over Gen 5, that is quite concerning to me. That was on Doom the Dark Ages, so those results I showed earlier on. So yeah, that sort of thing does make you wonder if I would be worse off if I went Gen 5. So I don't know. I mean, generally, I think when AMD do implement something, people can call me shilling for AMD, but it's just with my experience, I just feel that it will be adopted far better when it comes to the time of getting a Gen 5. But at the moment, I don't really think it will be worth my time or anyone else's time upgrading to a Gen 5 from a Gen 4. I mean, by the time I think it will be making a difference, I'll probably be getting a new motherboard anyway, to be honest. If I was on Gen 3, personally, I probably would. But, you know, that is still a small difference. It's an extremely small difference with Gen 4 and Gen 5. And another thing I wanted to address is basically all these Nvidia fanboys. In the past 48 hours, I've been getting stupid comments like this again. Just because I say something about AMD, and I'm not even antagonising them. So it used to be this Cyberpunk game that AMD can't run that, and now it is Doom Dark Ages because all the path tracing has come out on that, if you didn't know. But what makes me laugh, if you want the facts of it, Nvidia can't even run path tracing that well at all. You literally need a 90 series, you need to go DLSS performance. And I don't need all these Nvidia Ultras pointing stuff out to me. I already know, or it's just complete made up baloney. Because that is what it is. I mean, a lot of them are so worried about AMD for some reason. Probably just to justify their own purchase. I mean, the funny thing is, I'm looking at all these benchmarks with path tracing on in Doom of the Dark Ages, and it really isn't running that well on Nvidia. So there's nothing special. I mean, path tracing, as I've said, I don't even use it on the 4090. So, I mean, I don't know what sort of world they're living in, but they are completely deluded, as always. I mean, they've literally never owned an AMD GPU in their life, most likely, a lot of them. They just go by what the biggest ultras say. I mean, it's not just Nvidia. You get Nintendo fanboys that I found to be very deluded recently as well. I mean, they sound like they're a different breed. But at the end of the day, it's just the last. I mean, what started it off was I said on one channel that even on the 4090, which is completely my choice, I don't use path tracing. And then some idiot come out of nowhere saying, "Oh, you probably don't even have a 4090." So he's obviously probably got a 5060 or 5070 or something, and he's got butt hurt about that because I'm not using it on the 90 series. Now, I am very honest, so I don't like misinformation, lies. So I've got no issue whatsoever, like pointing stuff out to people. And I think that's a lot of it. They do get butt hurt when I'm telling them the reality of the situation. But again, if I know I'm right, I mean, if Nvidia literally ran path tracing that well as all these deluded people tell me, then why do you have to go DLSS performance even at 1440p if it's running that well? You tell me. And why do you need this matey frame gen to hide the real FPS? I mean, am I missing something? Because it doesn't impress me. I mean, yeah, I mean, path tracing is extremely heavy, which is why I don't use it. I mean, I think logically in life, I'll choose not to use it. So why are people telling me, AMD can't run it when they're struggling to run it? You know what I mean? It don't make sense to me. Again, it is fucking childish, stupid idiots telling me things that don't make any sense. If you're needing to dramatically reduce the resolution, even at 1440p to performance, I mean, I don't use performance mode at 1440p because I know on DLSS 4, DLSS 3 would have been even worse, but FSR 4, I don't like using performance at 1440p in certain games because it don't look good to me and hair quality gets worse. I'd rather just turn path tracing off and have better image quality. That's literally it. I mean, I made a video ages ago saying I don't use path tracing anymore. So, I mean, if I don't want to do it, it's nothing to do with anyone else. But it does seem like that is the number one way to wind some of these Nvidia Ultras up. That's saying you got a 90 series and you don't use path tracing. So that seems to be the trigger. So it's not an issue for me. It's an issue for them if they get butthurt about that. I mean, PC gaming is about using settings you like. They are so sensitive. It is ridiculous. It's like they wait for a game to come out with path tracing, and then they want to slag off AMD for something. So they are fucking pathetic, in my opinion. And as I've said in the past, I do think a lot of them are getting paid to do comments like that. That's what it is. Because if I'm praising Nvidia, I hardly get anything. But as soon as I say something about AMD, they all come flying out of the woodworks, and it don't take long. It takes like an hour or something. So I don't know. It doesn't make me like them anymore. It literally makes me hate Nvidia at times. It really does, because they're stupid fanboys. I mean, I haven't got a problem with Nvidia, but maybe they should concentrate more on their own GPUs. I mean, if they're literally losing performance in games because of Blackwell, I mean, it doesn't seem like a very good generation to me. So rather than wasting all their time on people like me trying to convince me that AMD is shit for some reason, maybe they should ask Jensen why they're losing performance on a certain game like Doom: The Dark Ages, even though they've got a 5070 Ti compared to a fucking 4070 Ti Super, as I showed earlier. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe they are getting such bad FPS anyway. They're thinking because they've been conditioned to think AMD is absolutely terrible. Maybe they're generally thinking, well, it must be fucking bad on AMD if I'm hardly able to run it on the Nvidia. So maybe it's that. I don't know. But it is mostly about these this Gen like Gen 5 and Gen 4, comparing that and Gen 3. But I just wanted to point this out because literally the last 48 hours since I said I don't use path tracing on the 4090, I've had all these stupid comments, and I haven't had that for a while. So it's probably this Doom game that's come out, because it's probably going to be the Cyberpunk for them there. They can get a nod dick over that and think AMD about it. So I mean, AMD ain't running it well, but I don't care, so who cares? I mean, you know what I mean? I'm a real gamer. So I suppose simple minds will get satisfaction out of that sort of thing and whatever. But it just it does irritate when they tell all this shit and at times, but whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.